Hi everyone, this is daveac.blake.tv and this is my vblog 136 for Friday the 25th of February 2011. News roundup, some sad news, meetup info and a wine, and all in around 15 minutes. And let's start off with the exciting news from the big weekend at Los Angeles. That's the Galley 22 event. Highly successful event with Peter Davidson, the Fifth Doctor, as the guest of honour, and the place was absolutely full of podcasters, many of whom have already put out live shows from the event itself: Radio Free Scaro, Happiness Patrol, Staggering Stories, and one or two others. And of course you can check a lot of those out by going to the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance website, or indeed their fan page on Facebook. But more and more of those are getting out. There's been Twitters going. You use the hashtag Galley to find out those information. There's things going up on Flickr pages. There's things going up on YouTube. People on their personal Facebook pages have put up whole collections of photographs, some with over 200 pictures in a grouping. So lots and lots of stuff already online and more to come. Doctor Who Podshot, which I always mention, of course, we know that Radio Free Scaro did a live show on the Friday, but of course on Sunday in the big hall, Doctor Who Podshot did their big event with some surprise guests. A really exciting event that was, and I think Lewis will be putting up an edited version of that on the Doctor Who Podshot site very soon. But no sooner was the actual event wrapping up and people were making their way back to their various countries in the world, back to Australia or to Canada, or indeed back here to the UK, there's some sad, very sad Doctor Who news broke. Now, I know there's been some very big major world events happening at the moment, and there's been the very sad loss of life in New Zealand with the earthquake. But in the Doctor Who world, one of the big sad news has been the death of a long-standing actor, Nicholas Courtney, who is famous for bringing to life on screen the Brigadier. And let me just get his name correctly, the character's name correctly: Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. And I'm going to actually do a little small tribute to him by playing a little clip of him from the Time Warrior. This is a third Doctor story, and it also is an important story because it features the introduction of Sarah Jane Smith. So that is, of course, played by Elizabeth Sladen. So that is really a smashing DVD to get as a collector's piece. Okay, I'll show you that in a minute, but let me just go through some other bits of news. So as I said, Podshock hasn't put their edited version of their show online yet, but we have the Cult and Collective. Last Sunday we did episode 86, Non-Who Sidekicks and Secondary Characters. That went over 3 hours, but again, you download it, you can listen to it in sections, and I hope you will enjoy that. We also put up one of our midweek episodes, and this again was another commentary. But from finishing Jekyll, we are now back to Doctor Who, and this was a commentary with Mike Vander Thor joining Ian and myself, and this was the third series opener, episode 1, Smith and Jones, which, as I just mentioned, this introduced Sarah Jane Smith. Series 3, episode 1 introduces the 10th Doctor, the David Tennant Doctor, to Martha Jones. So that is quite an important episode, and I hope you will listen to our commentary on it. Now, our Sunday show has changed. It was going to be voiceover actors, but we've moved that onwards a week, so that on Sunday, the 27th of February at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TalkShoe ID 54821, we're doing episode 87, Tribute to the Brigadier. And hopefully you will try and join us live for that, or failing that, really, hopefully, that will be an episode that you will want to download or indeed stream from the TalkTube site. And the other shows that we're going to do have all moved on 1 week forward from now. Let me just mention, there's a couple of other things I want to mention, but let me just go back to the Nicholas Courtney one. Let me just read a couple of facts from, I'm actually looking at the wiki page for Nicholas Courtney. He was born 16th of December 1929, so he was 81 when he died on the 22nd of February. Born in Cairo, Egypt, and although he's done lots of other acting, he's most famously known for playing the role of the Brigadier. In actual fact, he was his first appearance was a warrant officer in a 1957 series called Escape, and his first brush with Doctor Who was as a space security agent, Brett Vyon, I think it's V-Y-O-N, in the first Doctor Who epic, The Dalek Master Plan. So he really has been with Doctor Who for an awful long time, and his most recent appearance, of course, was in the Sarah Jane Adventures. Well, let me move us across to the little video I've got set up. A little clip from the Time Warrior. Let's get that in focus and hope it plays without stuttering.
Have none of these things of which you speak.
Here we go. Go on,
then
please.
I must take them from those who have.
Play.
Here, Brigadier.
Yes, I'm afraid so, Doctor. Not exactly the Ritz, I know, but you know, it's no joke providing emergency accommodation for all these scientists.
All right, Brigadier, you've had your little bit of mystification. Now I know where I'm supposed to stay. Perhaps you wouldn't mind telling me why.
Well, this place is one of the most top-secret security establishments in the whole country. In fact, most of their work's so secret they don't know what they're doing themselves.
And?
It's also one of the best guarded places in the country. Security details, alarm systems.
I rather gathered that when we arrived. For a moment, I thought they weren't going to let you in.
Yes, exactly. The place is almost too security conscious. That's what makes it all the more puzzling.
Makes what all the more puzzling? Come on, Brigadier, you can tell me.
People vanishing.
People?
Well, they've lost half a dozen leading scientists and several £1 million worth of ultra-secret equipment.
What are they working on here, anyway?
Space hardware, new alloys, guidance systems, methods of propulsion.
And what action have you taken so far?
Well, I had rather a bright idea. It's pretty hard to keep an eye on all these scientist chaps at home, so I had these cubicles put up on several floors. Supplied the whole lot of barracks. All my eggs in one basket, so to speak.
That's fine. So long as no one steals the basket.
And I'll have to stop it there. Brilliant little story that, and obviously the DVD. I think it's available in Region 1 and 2. The Time Warrior. Excellent. So Nicholas Courtney, of course, sadly died on the 22nd of February. Okay. Let's move on because there's a few other pieces of news. The Sunday, as I said, when we're doing our Cult and Collective, is also a busy day for a couple of reasons. One, later on that day, the Doctor Who Podshop Second Live meetup, the spring meetup, takes place at Katrina, and that takes place between 1 and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is indeed 9 p.m. GMT. So that's the meetup at Katrina, and Dave AC Footman there. Lewis is 2 Hartman. Ian, my 6th Doctor, is Kirsty Pixel, and there's lots of other ones that come, all the different podcasters that come. So please try and join us on Second Live on the Sunday. It's the same night, in fact, that, as I said, it's busy. It's the night of the Oscars. Now, I haven't got a lot of time to tell you much about that, but the easiest page to go to check that is oscar.go.uk. oscar.go.com, and the simplest page probably to go to is oscar.go.com/nominations. In the film category this year, for instance, there are 10 pictures that are nominated, but it is quite a strong year. Let me just read the best film nominations at least. There's Black Swan, The Fighter, Inception, The Kids Are Alright, The King's Speech, 124 Hours, The Social Network, Toy Story 3, True Grit, and Winter's Bone. So an awful lot of talented films there. Inception very early on in the year, but a super film. The King's Speech seems to be getting an awful lot of buzz about it. And of course, there's an awful lot of people who thought that Toy Story 3 was the best of the Toy Story series. But of course, as an animation, will it get the nod for the main Oscar? But all the nominations are there on that page. So it's going to be quite a little busy Sunday this weekend. Okay, we're already at 11 minutes. I'm going to have to drop some of the things I was going to mention. But let me just mention a few little tech items. Windows 7, if you use Windows 7 on your computer, Service Pack 1 is now out. Now, I wouldn't go down the route of downloading the whole image of it, because that's nearly 1 gigabyte in size. And I went to the start menu, my Windows update, and because I've had my PC on automatic updates all the time, it actually only needed to download 80 megabytes of files. So save yourself a lot of trouble and either wait until it downloads or just go to your start menu and go to the Windows update site. Another browser piece of news, Firefox 4, what will be the final beta, supposedly, beta 12, before it goes to release candidate, is being delayed until March. It seems to be taking an awful long time to get Firefox 4 out the door. I've got the Firefox beta on my other machine. I think I've got Firefox beta at 4.10, but on this main machine I'm sticking with Firefox 3.6. So that's out. If you're in the UK, there's been some tech news about the BBC iPlayer. Just a little bit of a tweak, and what they're doing is they're not adding programs from other TV companies, but they are listing programs from other TV programs so that you can know when you're looking at stuff what was available on the other channels in that previous 8-day window. So a very nice little feature that they've done to the BBC iPlayer. And one last little tech news, and I'll cut all the others out, and that is if you have a blog that is a self-hosted blog using WordPress.org, well, they've released WordPress 3.1. If you're on the WordPress's own site, then you not automatically get the latest software. But if you're on your self-hosted one, you actually have to download to get WordPress 3.1. Okay, I'm going to stop with that now because I want to get to the wine. Now, this is a wine that I actually opened and had a glass out of last night because I had some shandies at the pub, so I had a glass of that. It's Rawnsley Estate Cabernet Merlot, stay in focus, South Australia, 2010, 14%. Let's see if we can turn this round and it's stay in focus. Freeze frame it. Plummy fruits of the Merlot combining perfectly with the blackcurrant flavours of the Cabernet. Well, we'll see. We've had lots of lovely, I would say like a fruits of the forest smell coming across. Yeah, quite a lot of fruit coming out of that. And a little bit of earthiness again, which is not unusual for this sort of wine. 14%, so it should have quite a full-bodied feel. Bit of heat in that as well. And, well, it says plumminess. I'm getting more of a red berry. I'm getting more of a crossover between red berry and blackcurrant rather than plumminess. I'm not getting the sort of jammy plumminess. I'm getting a slight sort of blackcurrant with an edge towards a red berry slight sharp edge, a little bit like the last wines I've had the last 2 weeks, and it's getting those taste buds going. Again, it looks like a wine that's more suited to have with food, although drinking quite nicely for me. I'm not getting any, well, a little bit of spice, but I'm not getting much oak or vanilla. It is something else. Chocolatey, I think. Some sort of chocolatey. Is it mocha they call it? Chocolatey. Nice. It says here, smooth abundance of black fruits together with chocolate and spice notes on the palate. Well, that spice is a little bit muted, I'm afraid, on my palate, but I am getting the chocolate and I'm getting these sort of forest fruit flavours. Well, at 16 minutes, I ought to toast your health and finish the vblog. So, sad news, of course, with all the things happening in the world and with what's happened with this big earthquake in New Zealand. And on the personal side of the Doctor Who fandom, the very sad news about Nicholas Courtney, aged 81. We thank you, Brigadier. And with that, that's the end of Dave AC vblog 136. Catch you next week. Bye all.